Hello and welcome to TRUGREEN in action. This is the point in the year when people head out back into their garden, a bit of sunshine showing, and they start thinking about their first cut of the season. They start to notice something just doesn't quite look right. Perhaps the lawn feels a bit soft underfoot, colour isn't quite there, and in places it looks like the grass hasn't really woken up at all. So what we're looking at today is moss. We're going to specifically look at how do you know if moss is becoming a problem and what can you do early to stop it taking over. So what do you need to look for? Well, common early indicators are a lawn that feels springy or spongy underfoot. That can indicate thatch, and that's often a case where moss starts to get started. Areas that stay darker or greener when the rest of the lawn looks pale. In fact, any differentiation in colour, again, that probably it requires a little bit of closer examination, and you might find that there is moss present there. Well, grass that looks thin, weak, or slow to respond as temperatures rise. The other one is shaded and wetter areas struggling more than the rest. These are prime areas for moss to get a hold. So why does moss show up at all? Well, moss thrives in exactly the conditions that winter leaves behind. Wet soil, low light, compacted ground, and slow grass growth. So while grass is still waking up in early spring, the moss doesn't need much warmth or nutrition. Additionally, its reproduction vehicle is moisture, which we get plenty of in our UK winters. This all leads to it getting a head start on your grass. That's why early spring is such a critical time of year, because either you're going to tip the balance back towards the grass or moss is going to tighten its grip. So one really important thing to understand is that moss isn't the cause of the poor lawn, it's a symptom. Moss rarely pushes grass out, instead it moves in where grass is already struggling. So prevention isn't really about attacking moss, it's about removing the reasons it feels comfortable in the first place. So what can you do right now? Well, the first thing to do is don't rush the first mow. If you cut too early or too low, you weaken the grass just as it's trying to wake up. So keep the mower height higher than you think and only mow when the lawn is dry. Number two is encourage strong, even growth. As soil temperatures rise, feeding the lawn helps grass thicken and it can begin competing again. Dense grass naturally crowds out moss. And number three is watch the wet areas. If certain parts of the lawn stay wet or shaded, those are the areas moss will target first. As a sign to think about drainage, compaction, and airflow, even cutting back overhanging branches or shrubs, anything that casts a shade, that will help. So don't just think about surface appearance. If you catch moss early and focus on grass health, you can often prevent it becoming a bigger issue later in the season. But if moss is already present or clearly visible, such in this case, and dominating parts of the lawn, then the approach changes a little. And that's exactly what I'll be covering in the next video. So if you are suffering from moss taking over or need a little more advice, contact us for a free lawn analysis. If you haven't already, click subscribe. But until next time, that's TRUGREEN in action.